This may be something that you haven't seen before. This curb was actually purchased from Taobao, and can you guess how much I paid?
If you're not sure of how to begin your renovation, go to Home Trust. Home Trust is Singapore's leading renovation platform that matches homeowners with trusted interior designers. On the main page, simply click the Get Recommendations feature and answer a few simple questions to get matched with reputable IDs. From there, you can check out their portfolios and take a look at their reviews. Did you know that Home Trust do not delete negative reviews? This is where Home Trust stands out, by providing the promise of trust and transparency to homeowners like ourselves. If you want to know more, make sure you visit their website at hometrust.sg.
Hi everyone! So in our previous videos, we haven't really shown you our bathroom, and that is because we really didn't renovate it at all. Everything that you will see are just installations. But even so, there are plenty of important tips to learn, so make sure you watch till the end. Firstly, I want to say a huge thank you to HDB for the bathroom tiles. Everything that you see here were the original tiles, and because of that, no need to overlay, no need to hack, and that helps us to save a lot of money in the bathrooms. Our vanity cabinet is from Taobao. The dimensions were sold in increments of 10 centimeters. So since we cannot exceed the floor trap, we chose one that is as wide as possible without hitting the shower glass. Additionally, the storage created from these two drawers are also very useful. You can store a lot of cleaning supplies. Now whenever you're shopping for vanity, there are three kinds out in the market: vessel, undermount, and integrated vanity. You see, whenever we go to the hotels, especially the very high-end ones, you will usually notice that they use the vessel type vanity, which is the most aesthetic out of the three options. However, this is also a very common renovation regret for homeowners because the area where the sink meets the countertop is often connected with silicone, and it will always turn moldy over time. Then it will become very difficult to maintain. The second type is the undermount vanity. This means that the vanity bowl is joined to the countertop from below with a ring of silicone. However, as I mentioned in our kitchen video, whenever you have two materials meeting together sealed with silicone, there are bound to be mold over time. This is what we went for, an integrated vanity, where the vanity top and the sink is the same material seamlessly joined together and there will be no silicone. Therefore, it is the easiest to maintain. We paid around $400 for this vanity cabinet. Additionally, try to select a vanity that is rounded at the bottom and not flat. For the husbands, you'll be shaving here, and for some of you ladies, you may be doing your makeup over here. Whenever something lands into the sink, it'll be easier to wash. Unlike the kitchen, you'll rarely install a pull-down faucet, and having a round-shaped bowl will make cleaning easier. Otherwise, you'll need to splash water around with your hands to clean the corners. There's another type of vanity that I don't recommend, which is the kind with all the sharp inner corners. Always go for rounded corners like this, otherwise you will get a lot of dirt building up at the corners, which makes it very difficult to clean. Another thing that is worth mentioning is that this is matte porcelain. Out in the market, most porcelains are glossy, and I didn't like it because any stains or watermarks can be very obvious on glossy surfaces. For the vanity tap, we splurged a little bit and purchased Hansgrohe from Taobao for slightly less than $100. Take note that in Taobao, there's real Hansgrohe and knockoff, and prices are usually different. So here's another tip. Normally, IDs will ask you to choose and buy your own water fittings and they will install it for you. So when you go to the shops, it is very tempting to just buy the cheapest one without much consideration. If you do that, it is likely that you will end up with a tap that is too short. You see, whenever we turn on the water supply, the water should directly hit the drainage trap. But somehow, for the cheapest models of taps, especially Grohe and Hansgrohe, the body is very short. And for anything that you're trying to wash or your hands, you need to position it very close to the tap and water will start splashing all over. So try not to make this mistake. So this is our mirror cabinet. And whenever you're buying mirror cabinets, be very careful of mirrors with two doors. If the opening line is at the center, it is going to cut your face into half whenever you look at it. What we have chosen here is a 3-door one that is symmetrical. We also chose one that is of the same width as our vanity. Also, if you look very carefully at the vanity mirrors in Taobao, most models are 60 cm tall. They will look good on the website, but after installation, you will realize that the dimensions are out of place. So what we did here was to find one that is as tall as possible. You can see that it almost hits our tap already. So when the mirror is big, right, it not only looks better, the dust will also not settle above the mirror. Additionally, it creates more storage in the bathroom to store your cleaning supplies. Price-wise, this was $120. Above the mirror is our DIY acrylic panels. You can watch our previous videos on how I install it myself. By default, the box up is covered using a plastic mesh. Over time, it can get quite dusty inside and be very difficult to clean. So I'm not sure who came up with this genius idea. It is not only aesthetic and practical, it doesn't even cost a lot of money. Even if you hire someone to install it, it will cost around $400 for 2 bathrooms, so definitely money very well spent. Now something to note here is that we have removed the center support frames. Originally, there were additional supports that look something like this. So we took it out in order to achieve this seamless piece of acrylic panel. Otherwise, the lines will be very distracting to look at, especially when there's light behind. And because of that, we have one big problem. Can you see that we flush our mirror all the way to the top, touching the acrylic panels already? Because of that, the mirror door have to scratch the acrylic panels whenever we open or close them. This is because the acrylic panels are not rigid materials. It is going to flex a little bit. So if you look at this plastic ruler, right, it is going to flex a little bit because it is not perfectly straight. So because of that, right, the top of the door will always scratch the acrylic panel. Now, how did we solve them? We tried to think of various ways to reduce the friction. Originally, I bought a bit of ball bearings to put in between the door and also the acrylic panel, but that didn't really work too well. And so eventually, I thought of this idea. So over here is a mouse that we use for work all the time. Now, if I go closer, right, you can see that there are some stickers over here on all 4 corners to reduce the friction and make the mouse very easy to slide. So what I did was to purchase some of these stickers and stick it all on top of the top side of the door. So now it opens and closes very smoothly, and it totally works. So this is only $1+ and it fixes a potentially huge renovation regret. So I'm super proud of this one. Now if you look higher, you realize that we have a ceiling fan in the bathroom. And let me tell you, you will not realize that you need one until you have tried one before. Instead of an exhaust fan that is typically installed in this position, I find that the ceiling fan is a little bit more aesthetic. And every time after shower, the floors will also dry up within 2 hours. Also, when you're doing your business in a toilet, having a ceiling fan is an absolute game changer that you have to try to believe. Now for the one that we have purchased, can you see that there's very little ceiling space around the fan? Because of that, there's not enough clearance for the surrounding air to get sucked in and get pushed downwards, and therefore the wind is not as strong as it can be. Otherwise, for bigger bathrooms, this will be much better. But anyways, this fan is also not meant to be installed in the bathroom, but overall, we are still very happy with the amount of wind it can produce. Now, there's not much to talk about this shower glass. This is very standard. You just need to tell your installer the dimensions, where to install, and they can do it for you. Instead, I have a lot to talk about this incredible shower curb. This may be something that you haven't seen before. This curb was actually purchased from Taobao, and can you guess how much I paid? Only $20. Amazing, right? So normally for those of you who want to do a shower curb, your toddler will need your bathroom towel and cut it up into long strips and then cement everything one by one together. The cost may at least be $200. And if you need to do the miter joints, which is the 45-degree finishing, you will likely need to pay more. So what I bought here is a slab of granite that is machine cut. Therefore, there will not be any workmanship issue as compared to the traditional tile curbs. All you have to do is to tell the seller the dimensions, how tall, how long, and how deep you want it to be, and the seller will cut it for you. They also have many colors to choose from. Although ours is not exactly the same as our 4 tiles, it still looks pretty good, isn't it? Can you see the granite grain patterns over here? Now after it arrives, right, what we have to do is to put waterproof silicone underneath and seal up the edges properly with silicone. For myself, I use epoxy grout. So if silicone is something that you really cannot do, I'm sure your glass contractor can do it for you for a small fee or even for free. So for those of you who want to add a shower curb without too much hassle and money, this can be a great idea, especially for those of you who are in resale houses. For the L-shaped shower curb, right, the seller can also cut 2 pieces in 45 degrees, something like this. You can join it up nicely and stick it together. I will show you later in the master bathroom. For the shower area, I will talk about it later in the master bathroom because everything is pretty much the same. So for the toilet bowl, right, we kept the original one given to us from HDB, except that we changed the seat cover into a manual bidet seat cover. Again, another life-changing modification, $30 money well spent. You can check out our DIY installation video for more details. I will insert a link over here. As for the toilet bowl itself, right, honestly, it is not the best. The flush is not the strongest, and it is also not a one-piece design for easier cleaning. However, I'm also sure that you have seen those from older BTOs with a water tap on top. Ours is not the best, but I can really touch my heart and say that HDB toilet bowls are a lot more better now than our parents' time. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. We already got lucky on the tiles, and I could not have asked for more. And with that, let's go to the master bathroom. So this is our master bathroom, and as you can see, the layout is the same. Everything is the same. The bathroom is just slightly wider than the common bathroom, so more space for the shower area. Now for the vanity, we chose a more expensive one with these stone-shaped textures. This material is not porcelain, this is a composite material called Corian. I especially quite like the sharp angle finish over here, it makes it look very refined. Oh, and one more thing, when you're choosing for vanity sinks, make sure to choose white color. If you think about it, for the kitchen sink, we get all sorts of food particles and dirt, that's why we went with stainless steel. But in the bathroom, what is the most common substance that will land in the sink? It is actually toothpaste. So try not to get all the black color or any color other than white, otherwise it will be very obvious and you have to clean it every time. And again, this tap is a different model from Hansgrohe, and like I have mentioned in the kitchen tour video, for all the water fittings, try not to get the black or gunmetal color, otherwise you'll have a hard time cleaning all the water stains and deal with peeling a few years later. So let's talk about this mirror, right? And it is exactly the same as what you saw in the earlier bathroom, except that we have some LED lights at the side that we don't really use at all. So let me try to turn it on. So initially, I wanted to give Lady Boss another option to do her makeup over here in the bathroom. But she's very picky one. She needs like a chair to sit down to do her makeup. And then the mirror needs to be like 1 cm close to her face to be able to see properly, to do her eyelash and so on. And additionally, her elbow needs to somehow be able to rest on the tabletop so that she got more control to do her eyes, do her lips, I don't know, do her face or whatsoever. I also catered another hairdryer slot. As you can see, there's a socket over here. But however, end up, she never used it at all. So it is what it is. So for the ceiling fan, we chose a slightly different one because this model can oscillate and angle towards the shower area. And this is more powerful because the fan blades are smaller, it doesn't require as much ceiling space to generate wind. Although this is not as aesthetic as the previous one, but it is more practical as we can shower in this bathroom most of the time. Now, I remember taking a very long time to decide on the shower glass because this area was very problematic. For the shower area, we always try to maximize the space inside, and that is why the shower curb is installed right beside the floor trap. Normally inside the shower area, you need to cater at least 80 centimeters in width so that the shower is not claustrophobic. Bigger is also better. Originally, we also wanted to do a shower wall on the vanity side, but what I realized is that the wall has a minimum dimensions of 10 centimeters, making the shower area even smaller. Because of the position of the floor trap, we have to go for glass. Otherwise, it will be a really small shower that we have to use every day. But the downside of glass is high maintenance, which I have to squeegee it every day. Hence, my recommendation here is as long as you have the space, go for shower wall instead of shower glass. For a bathroom that you use every day for shower, low maintenance is more important than aesthetics. Additionally, we were also contemplating between just doing a fixed panel here on the vanity side as compared to an L shape like this. But the downside is that your toilet bowl will always get wet every day after you shower. So for those of you who just did a fixed panel, do you have any long-term problems with the toilet bowl constantly getting wet? Let me know in the comment section down below. Again, this is the same Taobao shower curb you saw earlier. You need to measure the dimensions nicely and the seller will cut for you. This is a 2-piece joined together at the center, so $40 in total. Can you see this 45-degree joint line at the center? So what I did was to put silicone at the bottom and then seal up the corners. Actually, I messed up the epoxy grout a little bit because this was my first time doing it. Otherwise, it should look a lot nicer. This shower mixer that you see here is my favorite item in the bathroom. This is a Taobao Hansgrohe, and take note that this is not the genuine one, it's a high quality knockoff that we purchased for $450. So this is what we call a thermostatic mixer, where the water supply and the temperature controls can be done separately. It is easier than those that is all controlled in one lever. Additionally, right, because I do not like the corner baskets that you put over here to store your shampoo and toiletries, this ledge over here has been very helpful. Additionally, there's a slim piece of mirror here on the rain shower pole. You know, normally it looks very weird for you to install a separate mirror inside the shower, but this slim piece has been very useful, especially when you want to shave or wash your face inside the shower. I didn't even thought about it before buying, and I only realized how functional it was after using. Remember that I mentioned before, for anything touching water, don't go with black or gunmetal. But this one is okay because this material is rubber. It's homogeneous and black throughout the entire material, so there will not be any peeling or water stains. Originally, the water pipe is in silver in color, same as this, but I changed it out to a longer one to reach all areas of the bathroom. Very useful for cleaning, especially when we do not have a traditional handheld bidet. Also, right, for most showers that we see in the market, for the shower head, you need to twist and turn in order to change the spray mode. And most people just end up not using the other spray modes. Whereas for this one, right, you can do so by one hand by pressing this button over here. Very convenient for washing. Now, the main reason why I bought a shower set from Taobao was because I know how to install it myself. I can still replace it anytime if something goes wrong. So for those of you who are considering, I would still suggest you to think twice. But for the generic shower sets in Taobao, you really cannot go for the cheapest ones. A lot of homeowners fall into this trap and they end up having to replace 1-2 years later when it starts to leak. I find that for most people, buying local is still the best option. For us, this is a higher quality knockoff and has been used every day for 8 months. No issues so far, and hopefully it stays that way for a long time. Now, if you're going for a concealed shower system, then Taobao water fittings is a definite no. It becomes a ticking time bomb, and the moment it leaks, the water can go down and damage your neighbor's ceiling, and you will need to hack out the entire tile and wall in order to repair, and that is definitely not fun at all. Now, below the shower mixer, we have another shower ledge over here. I especially like the slim profile that is not as thick as the traditional shower ledges. This was also purchased from Taobao and was secured using the no-nail glue. In fact, for most of the accessories like towel rack, toilet paper holder, and the wall hooks, they are all secured using no-nail glue, so that in the future, if we need to change position or replace them in the future, we can still pluck it out and do so without leaving a permanent screw hole inside the towel. Check out our toilet paper holder. This is actually Kompacplus. Previously, when we were shopping for kitchen countertops, we went to the Kompacplus showroom and they gave us a sample. In the end, we asked them if they wanted a sample back and they said no need to return. So I thought it would be such a waste to throw a good material, so I took out my circular saw and I cut it to size over here and use it as the toilet paper ledge. In the common toilet, I also have a sintered stone sample to do the same thing.
Lastly, let's talk about lighting. We have accent lights from below the vanity, we have task lighting below the mirror, and ambient lights from the acrylic panels. I find that with this combination, the bathroom can look very nice already.
And folks, that is all for our bathroom tour. You can see that we tried to retain as much as possible that was originally given by HDB. So if you add up all the installations, including the shower mixer, the vanity, the mirror, the glass, everything costs around $3,000 for both bathrooms. Again, thank you HDB for giving us the good quality tiles. Otherwise, the cost to retile alone may be even more expensive than our entire bathroom. And also, thank you for watching our videos. In the next video, we'll be doing our last and final tour, which is the 2 bedrooms. So I hope you learned something here. Give me a like, and we shall see you in the next one. Bye!